And joining me via Zoom is Richard Yasere, the toxicologist, and of course, the human rights activist, a social media influencer. Richard Yasere, I beg your pardon. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Okay, Richard Yasere, I heard your jingle. We even saw it not quite long. It was on the screen on what you do basically in order to bring about peace, in the electoral process. Now, let's look at what you've been able to do in terms of those of you in the diaspora. I believe there have been interrogating process where you interacted with the various candidates for the polls, coming up September 21, 2024, this Saturday in Edo State. What is your perception, or what's the perception of those of you in diaspora about the various candidates? And of course, how do you assess the coming polls?
Once again, good morning. Thank you for having me. And yes, we, the Edolites in diaspora, this election is something that is very, very important and dear to all of us. In New York, tri-state area, we've been able to organize several town hall meetings, and we have had the opportunity to meet with all the three major frontliners of the this coming elections, and a robust discussion, and three good gentlemen, and we interact with them, we ask questions, and some of them did a very good presentation. So talking about assessments, me personally, and I met all these three candidates myself, and as you know, from airport all the way to their hotel or the town hall meeting. Um, it was quite engaging and very interesting discussion. So my personal assessment is that you know we the diaspora, we care a lot about the insecurity in those states. We want security, and of course competence and somebody with capacity. So the assessment from my side somehow. Ashworth came out, he did a very, very good and excellent um, presentation, and Akpata was also a very well, spoken person. Monday is of a laid back, and he's a gentleman, quiet man. So I would say it in order.
I want your comments on the qualities that you fetch for on who must take up the job as the governor in Osadebe Avenue. What are the qualities that should be peddled that the electorate should garner for?
They said, who the cap fit, let him wear it. Edo is a very unique state, and to govern Edo states, we need definitely somebody who has that capacity. Uh, there's a whole lot of, I would say this, Obasaki, have, tried in a certain way uh, putting it to where we are today. But we need somebody that definitely will do way, way better. And those states require somebody who has that, who is competent. There's so many uh, lines and propaganda, so many, because sometimes you cannot really differentiate between all these political parties in Nigeria. So who was in party A before, now from party B. But we need somebody who will be able to bring the two states together, somebody who take the job seriously, and be able to deal with this insecurity. You know, a lot of diaspora want to come back home and invest and do things in Edo State that is very dear to us. Because of the insecurity or fear of the unknown, is stopping a lot of people to come to Edo State, and then at the end, it's also affecting the economy of the Edo State. So the one of the biggest things there is somebody who takes security very seriously. Though other infrastructural developments and other is also very dear to the diaspora, but I think we want more of somebody who can keep Edo safe.
Thank you. Also joining me in the studio, I have Mr. Omogbe Iwan for big thanks for taking time to be part of this. Let's have your say on the polls forthcoming on Saturday. A lot of persons have said that there has been this ways that the campaigns have been going on, politics of calumny, and in the case where even some external forces dominating the candidates, speaking as if they are the candidates themselves, has also given room for the electorate to wonder if a certain candidate of a party will be able to carry the day in terms of, bringing the wishes of the people if voted into power. So let's look at the impressions of the candidate of the APC, for instance.
Thank you very much once again, Philip, for having me on this program, on this crucial program, a few days before the election. The perception or the perceived impression is in the public domain that the candidate of the APC is being dominated during campaigns by some other bigger actors in the party. But I want to say vividly here that that is just a misconception. That is just a way of diverting the subject that is actually supposed to be focused on. Because in the first place, in an election, not just one person that is running that is expected to always be talking and all that. In a political setting, it's like a church. Political party is like a church. Why do I say that? You see a situation whereby everybody has a part to play in the process. There are some in the media, there are some in mobilization, there are some during campaigns to talk and all that. So this perception, this thing they are just selling to the public as if is the issue really to be considered. Actually, whoever speaks during an electionary campaign is, to me, it's not really too important, because in the first place, there are procedures in there are programs laid down to follow during these electoral campaigns. On the issue of people saying our candidate is not talking much, personally, if you even look at our candidate, you know that he's a very reserved person. Outside politics, Modi Okpebolo, if you know him from Adam, you know that he's a reserved person. He's not really the talkative type. And to some extent, he stammers too. So these are issues people should not just wave under the carpet. He's not somebody that has that don't know how to talk or cannot really speak, but he stammers, and at the same time, he's a very reserved person. So the fact that he's not really an eloquent person doesn't be a factor to determine whether he will govern well or not. That being said, in the first place, like I always say, politics is local, Philip. It's local. It has nothing to do with Queen's English, who speaks good English or whatever. It has to do with how the policies you have will affect the common man on the street. We should go past a situation whereby, or an environment whereby we now be depending on foreign ideas, foreign people to always come and govern. How can you, even if you have a very robust CV, how can you govern a people that you don't even know?
Okay, Mr. Mogbe, you may mention the fact that he has a speech defect, which is quite very sensitive, because we need someone who can be able to communicate the policies or the manifestos or the programs that he has on his blueprint copies. If he's not able to do that, wouldn't you see that as a setback? Because the office of the governor is not an office where you just lay back. It's an office where you hit the ground running, articulate your policies. Don't you see that as a defect?
It can be a defect because in the first place, he has commissioner of, there are people to always be at the other side when it gets to Asadebe Avenue. When I want to correct that, I didn't say he has defect. It is not a kind of speech defect. I'm only saying he's not a noise maker like the others. Okay. And it might not have been so eloquent as the others. These are personal attributes or characteristics that most times it's not even what we acquire on earth. It might even be a situation whereby somebody does not cannot really speak very, very well by way of, like I said earlier, he stammers a little bit and all that. So it has nothing to do with implementing some of these policies. We have seen a case or a situation whereby you articulate, you talk and talk and you talk, you postulate, and at the end, implementation is zero. Okay, implementing some of these policies is what actually matters, not the issue of just talking big English and as if that has to do with implementation.
So persons have picked holes in the campaigns and in the speeches or the comments made by some of the leaders of the APC, most especially as surrounding, making inflammatory statements, or giving a flip side of what the governor of the state said in that regard. A lot of persons have said that this is a way of the party trying to raise propaganda or trying to raise, make noise where there are no really issues. What's your comment on that?
Personally, I don't like this issue of campaign of calumny, destroying one another. Like I always say, issue-based campaign should be encouraged. Whether I'm a member of APC or a PDP or even a Labour Party, I strongly disagree with this issue of personal attack when it comes to elections. Because elections will come and go. Your friends or your family members are still your family members. This issue of whenever there's an election, whenever there are elections, you just talk from A to Z, you castigate your opponent. To me, it's a no-no.
But your party has been doing that.
It has to do with the person. It's a personal thing. It has nothing to do with whether the party or whatever. Because
all right, thank you.
Even the PDP, they themselves are doing same.
All right. Important to be joined by the Director, Media Strategy of Asue Ogie Campaign Management Council, and the person of St. Moses Eromosele. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Good morning, friends.
All right, St. Moses, a lot has been said about issues surrounding the campaigns, and some have said there are ways in which some of the parties and their leaders have turned these campaigns into an impression of war. And of course, the election that is forthcoming is not an election of war. How do you react to the statement where some have said that the governor of the state, for instance, has taken this election as a do or die? What's your comment in that?
Yeah, I think we have to look at this within context. When the governor said, or allegedly said, do or die, he did not say go and kill or go and die. He said do or die is something if you allow them to rig the election, you've allowed them to kill the state. Don't allow them to kill the state. Don't allow them to rig the election. So that's, for me, it's a very perfect statement. If it's looked in that context, he has not said go and fight. He told them not to fight. He told the police to be neutral. And so somebody that's asking you to be neutral is not asking you to do or die. He prepared the vigilante group to protect the people, which they have been doing. And somehow some authorities from somewhere says, no, we don't want them now, we want them later. When there was insecurity, we wanted them. And so it's unfortunate. But the fact that the governor said that it's not an admission of the fact that we want violence. It's an admission of the fact that we want peace, we want justice, we want equity. Because when there is no justice, there cannot be peace. That's what I think.
Okay, but don't you see that when such statements are made, that could also go a long way to disturb the meanings of those statements? Because we are in an election and we are in campaigns. And just like what the statement that was credited to the former president of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, where he said, no ambition of any politician is worth the blood of any Nigerian. Yeah. Now, don't you think this should have been the statements that would have been credited to chieftains and, of course, leaders of parties?
Right. You talked about the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan. His name is Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. The governor of Edo State, his name is Dr. Godwin Obaseki. And so there are different entities, and there are different epochs. There are different situations. The Goodluck Jonathan statement was made at a particular situation, and it had a different meaning. And the governor's statement did not say go and kill. It said don't allow them to rig the election. That's the most peaceful statement.
So it was misinterpreted.
The statement that is very wrong is the statement made by Adams Shomole, accusing an innocent man of being a member of the planned well, which is false. We've gone to court already, and that's annoying, provocative. He said so many nasty things. Godobaseki is this. Those are statements that are childish. That's statements that you should reprehend, not statements of saying we should defend our votes. Do what that means. Defend your vote. Don't allow anybody to rig the elections. You see where we are since they have rigged elections in different places of the world. When you rig elections, you create situations of anarchy. You create situations of oppression. You create situations where people lose confidence in the democratic process. And ultimately, you create situations that can lead to the turn of this democracy. And
Okay.
that's dangerous.
Let's join you, Richard Iyasere, from the United States, New York. You've seen campaigns so far, even in the diaspora and of course in Edo State, how the various political party candidates are hitting the ground running, campaigning. Now, what do you see as the perception of what is playing out? Do you see them doing the needful as regards making sure that we have integrity in this electoral process?
In a plain language, I'll say no. Some of most these political parties, they're not ready. They're now they still same old same old rhetorics, attacking each other. We want somebody, then to focus on the subjects matter. Let's talk about those states. Let's talk about what you can do for those states. We see candidates running away from debates. We see candidates can't communicate on the media. You need to be able to tell us, articulate articulate your manifesto. Even I'm not in support of use this rhetoric bad do or die, even if that is not the intention or that's not the lyric meaning of it. We see a peace accord not being signed, even though the peace accord is not legal binding, but it's a kind of deterrence. So in police, we say deterrence, like police you wear uniform just to sometimes just to scare away from scare thief or something away from happening. That's why you put police on a junction or somewhere just to they are present. So peace accord is also some kind of a deterrent. Personal attack, family being brought into this politics, all of these are not just the way to go. I'm really disappointed in these politicians. I thought that Akpata was the only one that was on a clear path. Recently, I also see him dishing out attacks everywhere. So we should stay away from them. We want to hear what the candidate want to do for Edo people. Then that should be the main focus, not these words that bite. So they're not ready.
Can you give us what you mean by that statement? In the course of the conversation, you said that the candidate of the APC, he lays back. What do you mean? Can you just elaborate on that?
The candidate of APC, I didn't hear that.
I said earlier when we had the conversation, you said that the candidate of the APC, why you had the opportunity to interrogate the various candidates in diaspora, that the candidate of the APC seems to be laying back. You said that in your statement. So can you
Right.
give us
Yeah.
an elaboration on that?
Yeah, so it might, he's a good man, but he just could not really articulate his manifesto. Isaiah Yamu took over. It looked like Isaiah Yamu is the one that is on the ballot. So that to most of us in New York tri-state area was, after the feedback I was getting from the people is he was not really upfront enough or being communicative enough. And they're asking, if you come out here, you want to deal with the Chinese, you want to deal with the Americans, you want to deal with these foreigners that always want to cheat Africans, how will you be able to? They don't want to see a deputy or somebody else. They want to deal with you. So how will you be able to communicate fluently? So it was a big concern of some of our Edolites here. So that's what I meant by that. That he was not really upfront.
Qualification soon. Thank you, Richard Yasere. Richard Yasere is a toxicologist and a human rights activist and a social media influencer. I'll be coming back to him for his roundup on that. You heard what Richard Yasere said. Now, a lot has been said concerning the other candidates who are able to articulate their policies, their manifestos, their programs. And I asked you earlier, don't you see this as a misfit among the candidates, looking at the personality of your candidate, APC, in person of Senator Monday Okpebolo? Because some have said your ability to, articulate what you have for the people will give an impression to the people that you have the ability to, navigate them from the troubled waters that they're presently facing in terms of making Edo a better place.
It's unfortunate that something that is not supposed to be the subject matter is now becoming the attraction or the focus. I've said it earlier. Politics is local. It's local in the sense that when you are coming into public office, what you intend to bring forth to your people is what we term to be a manifesto, the plan you have and all that. And if you look at our campaigns throughout, we've concluded the campaigns now. I think PDP, they've concluded theirs now. There were different kind of situations where Modok Bevolo actually articulated or actually spoke to the people of his plans towards when he becomes governor of this state. But you see that a particular set of people continue to live with the past by way of what has been said yesterday must still continue today, and it should still be a talk of the town tomorrow. This issue of Modok Bevolo is not being able to articulate his plans or his manifesto to the people. I think at this point, few days to election, should not be the subject matters now, because at the end of the day, he has concluded his campaigns and the electorate, most of them, he has won them over, and we are prepared as a party to go out en masse on Saturday to vote for our preferred candidate. So
some have said that your party seems to rely in Edo State seems to rely on the federal might, and we also hear rumors of a $2 million being given to your party's candidate in order to buy votes and of course bribe some minor officials.
I am very happy for bringing up this issue on this program. But 4 years ago, when Obaseki won election here, there was no federal might. APC was not occupying Aso Rock. Is that what you are telling me? So it is obvious that the PDP already knows, they are aware that they have failed this country, this state. They failed this state, they failed by way of policy implementation, they failed by way of interacting with their own fellow party men. Imagine somebody driving all the people in that party. I was a member of PDP as recent as even last year. His policies and his body language drove all of us away. And now it's an election, you are putting your fault or your predicament on, we are going to, APC is going to employ federal might. What is federal might? The federal might we are going to employ is on the people on Saturday. They are coming out to vote for our party, and they are coming out to support the candidate. In fact, even looking at the antecedents of some of these candidates that we're having, I was opportune to go into Ovia Northeast, Ovia Southwest, joining the campaign trail of the governor a few weeks ago. Just to be precise, about 2 weeks ago, I saw what the deputy candidate Dennis did in Ovia Northeast alone as a
When you
lawmaker.
said joining the campaign train of the governor, do you mean joining the campaign train of the candidate of the APC?
Yes.
It's not the governor.
No, sorry. Of the APC. Although we actually have started calling him governor because we know that Saturday is just going to be a child's play, you know. So
You didn't say anything about the $2 million.
on that issue of the 2 million, those are just speculations. People just speculate what they cannot substantiate. What do you mean? Agreed, in an election, you cannot rule out federal government, even other states or other friends helping out in financing. You cannot rule it out. But to say federal government gave 2 billion, where is that money coming from? Who said that? From which account did that $2 billion came from? So these are just speculations. But however, I think we have passed through propaganda, we have passed through name calling, we have passed through. Let everybody prepare.
All right,
let us prepare to go out on Saturday to vote for our choice. And come Monday, 23rd, 24th, our candidate, Mondo Kwevolubu, will declare winner.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let's get your impressions. We have this election coming up just a few days, on Saturday this week. And we hear where reports have been made by the IG, that about 35,000 police personnel will be drafted. And of course, we have another 8,000 from other sister agencies. And the Edo Vigilante is out of it. What's your reaction to that?
If it is true that they are bringing 35,000 policemen to Benin, Edo State, and that's a welcome development. If they are bringing all the 36 commissioners of police across the country to Edo State, living out Meduguri, there's a war center, we are welcoming it. You know why? Because we know that the elections will be decided by the people of voters. Police are not voters. So when they are bringing people who are not voters to come and observe, it means that the policemen, they are our people too. They also buy fuel in the police station. They understand the hardship created in this country by the APC. A party that does not even care about the people. So when the policemen come here, we will be happy so that they can lead the people and guide the people and guide the APC from misbehaving, because we understand that they have recruited fake policemen like Gomeri and other people that wear police uniform to come and do mishap. So when the real police come, we are happy so that they can guide the people to vote. We are confident that the people are with us. You know why? Because we have a manifesto. We have a pathway to prosperity. We have a pathway out of this austerity that they have created. And we are happy that we are going to do this on Saturday. And those people are going to decide whether they want to go back or they want to go forward. Whether they want to vote for somebody who does not understand the times or somebody who understands the future. We want to decide that on Saturday. On Saturday, all this yangan go finish.